He showed on the highest level, he's clutch. Those last 4 shots were pressure shots because if he misses them, it's a different game. People are gonna remember this moment in Steph's career more than probably any shot he's taken.
Hey, Ann said I just showed up 3 days ago.
Hey, my boy just got the Bears about 3 days ago, but we so glad he got here.
When you are as spectacular as Steph Curry was in a game against Serbia that would have denied Team USA a trip to the gold medal game if Steph Curry hadn't showed up and saved the day, dropping 36. And then in the gold medal game, the 24 that he scored, all on three-pointers. And oh, by the way, 4-4 in the last 248. Ladies and gentlemen, what can you say? It was spectacular. Steph Curry was spectacular. And you saw LeBron, and you saw KD, and you saw everybody deferring to Steph Curry, because when you get hot like that, you know who to get the damn ball to. So that's what it is. I thought Steph Curry deserved the MVP because of that. Not because LeBron wasn't great, because he was. But when you steal pivotal moments like that to secure gold in 2 thrillers, Serbia and then France, you deserve the MVP. I thought Steph should have got it. But I ain't knocking LeBron one bit. I just thought Steph should have got it.
Not only NBA fans were witnesses, this time the eyes of the whole world were on him. On the biggest stage anyone could ever imagine, in an Olympic Games final that would decide his legacy forever, Steph Curry had an unforgettable performance. In the last 2 minutes, this man scored 4 clutch threes that saved Team USA. 4 clutch threes that, had they not happened, could have meant a huge disappointment for the biggest powerhouse in the history of basketball. Because let's not act as if the game was easy. Let's not act as if France did not have the potential to win the game. With only a few minutes to go, the host team was only down by 3 points. The French fans were as intense as ever, and the dream of winning the Olympic gold on their home soil seemed closer than ever. However, one of Steph's 4 three-pointers brought them back to reality. An unforgettable three-pointer of an enormous degree of difficulty that woke everyone up from the dream. And the rest of the NBA players and legends did not take long to talk about what had happened. I mean, it was not for less. Everyone thought the Olympics were going to be a cakewalk for the team that LeBron, Steph, and KD had started recruiting a little over a year ago. And let's tell the truth. This wouldn't have happened without Noah Lyles. At a press conference, the track athlete managed to ignite the entire NBA and basketball world with his statements.
You know, the thing that hurts me the most is that I have to watch the NBA Finals and they have world champion on their head. World champion of what? The United States?
It only took 4 words. World champion of what? Because those statements came at the right time. Lyles had become the world champion in track and field just before he spoke at a press conference, and Team USA was ready to compete in the 2023 World Championships in the Philippines, Japan, and Indonesia. Steve Kerr did not bring his best roster. In fact, Anthony Edwards was clearly the leader of a team that suffered a very painful elimination. Because the reality is that Team USA's performance in that competition was terrible. They lost the semifinals to Dennis Schroeder's Germany, and then lost the 3rd place game to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's Canada. And for a few months, it looked like Noah Lyles was right. If Team USA didn't prove to be the best national team in the world, what was the point of the NBA champion receiving the title of world champions? So Team USA's Big 3 got down to business. The recruiting phase began. And when the chosen roster showed up for the first matchups, they looked like the stars of the next Avengers movie. LeBron, Steph, KD, Embiid, AD, Tatum, Ant, Drew, Bam, and even Kawhi at the beginning of training camp. It was surreal. However, it wasn't the bed of roses they thought it would be. Even in the month of July itself, Team USA was not able to get on track. They won most of their exhibition games in preparations for the Olympics by slim leads. In fact, the South Sudan team, which was one of the weakest teams of the tournament, almost beat them if it wasn't for a spectacular clutch layup by LeBron James. But it seems that once the tournament started, they got their act together. Team USA was superior to its rivals throughout the tournament, and they went into the medal games undefeated. But Steph was not having the best month of his life from a basketball standpoint. The guard was having a very discreet tournament, disappointing even if we take into account the huge standards that a player of his talent is supposed to have. Steph was averaging only 7.5 points in the 4 wins that allowed Team USA to qualify for the semifinals. But as Anthony Edwards said after winning the gold, that's when Curry showed up to play.
Hey, Ann said I just showed up 3 days ago.
Hey, my boy just got the Bears about 3 days ago, but we so glad he got here.
The guard not only carried his team into the semifinals against Serbia, scoring 9 3-pointers and a game-high 36 points, he also did it in the final against France. This time, it was only 24 points. But the thing is that he scored 12 points when his team needed it the most, in the last moments of the last quarter. When the ball is burning in the hands, when the responsibilities and expectations of an entire country fall on the shoulders of one man, that's when Steph showed that his team needed him. That without him, the gold medal was just an illusion. But he did it. And the craziest thing that happened on the court that night was his last three-pointer of the game. A long-range shot off the dribble that he knocked down in the face of Evan Fournier and Nico Batum. And of course, the reactions were quick to come in. First on X, where other American players and stars were able to show their opinion practically live. Players like Josh Hart, the Knicks guard, who knows perfectly well how impossible it is to defend Steph Curry. Or his backcourt partner on the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, another undersized guard who knows how complicated it was what Steph was doing on the court, and how difficult it is to score in crunch time when your frame is not the most athletically gifted. Or superstars like Trae Young, a really special case considering that many people compared him and even still compare him to Steph. A player whose style of play would never have been so bold without the influence of one of the best point guards of all time. Even another player known for his clutch play, Damian Lillard, who has had dozens of duels with Steph in the Western Conference when he played for the Portland Trail Blazers, showed his amazement at Curry's performance almost instantly. Or Donovan Mitchell, the star of the Cleveland Cavaliers, another guard known for his incredible ability to perform in crunch time, as we saw in the 2020 bubble playoffs. Another player capable of making the impossible a reality. But even he was amazed at what Steph had done. Yet another example, DeMar DeRozan, the Raptor legend who just signed a contract with the Sacramento Kings, wasn't missing the game. And to impress a 15-year veteran, you have to do something out of the ordinary, right? Legends like Kevin Garnett also added to the Warrior guard's appreciation. A trash talker, a player you didn't want to cross paths with on the floor, but a player who knows how to appreciate when he sees something out of the ordinary. As if that wasn't enough, right after, he tweeted a picture of Steph shooting over Wemby, a pic that looks like something out of the biblical battle of David versus Goliath. But what Steph had done had not only caught the attention of players in the league, because WNBA players like superstar Asia Wilson paid their respects on the same social network. So did NFL players like Philadelphia Eagles running back Saquon Barkley, or tennis players Frances Tiafoe or Naomi Osaka. The Olympic Games bring together the best athletes from all over the world, and everyone's eyes were on a match that was destined to be historic. Steph was the only one who made it happen. The celebrations went on for hours, even during the following days. We saw earlier the reaction of Anthony Edwards, the future American generational player who will have to lead Team USA for the next decade. And of course, we saw the reactions of all of his teammates. The bench was in shock when he did it. So was Carmelo Anthony, who was on the sideline supporting his teammates and couldn't believe it. And of course, also his teammates who were on the court. I mean, LeBron and Durant were wide open when Steph hit that fourth three-pointer that was the dagger. Imagine shooting an impossible shot instead of passing it to one of the best players to ever touch a basketball. Just crazy. Of course, we couldn't miss the reaction of one of the men that made Steph's career so legendary. We're talking obviously about Steve Kerr, his coach both on the Golden State Warriors and Team USA. A man who has seen him grow and become one of the best players in history. And in the post-game press conference, Kerr made it clear why Curry was able to do what he did that night. Of course, we're talking about his incredible work ethic.
Coach reminded me at a certain point early, like, the game will come to you if you allow it. And even if I was missing shots, like, just stay engaged. And that kind of fed into being locked in for these last two games, because the game called for me to, get shots up and knock them down. Serbia game just to kind of keep us afloat until we could get over the hump, and then tonight obviously to close it down. But you just stay confident, stay present, don't get rattled by the moment. Those last 2.5 minutes were special. Guys were hyping me up. We had confidence in what we were trying to do.
Steph's being modest. He earned this the last couple of weeks. I mean, I actually wanted to go to him and say, maybe take a day off, because he was working so hard every day, the work ethic. And I tell people all the time, when Kevin was with our team, my favorite part of practice with the Warriors was after practice, watching these two work. And it's not an accident that they're able to do what they do down the stretch of games. The work, just watching these two guys day after day after day is really impressive. When you see these guys behind the scenes and how hard they work, how much they love the process of the work itself, it all makes sense that they're as good as they are.
And that's when the debate came up. Well, one of them, because Steph Curry's performance has created many different debates. The question is, what is the best highlight of his career? Every legend has an iconic moment, a moment that people remember perfectly even decades after it happened. Michael Jordan and his The Shot against the Utah Jazz.
Good, the game's over.
LeBron James and his block against Iguodala in Game 7 of the 2016 Finals.
By James.
Allen Iverson and his crossover against Tyronn Lue.
He's way too good. He steps around Lou.
Who, by the way, was one of Kerr's assistants on Team USA. The question is, could that last three-pointer against France be the most iconic moment of Steph Curry's career? Gilbert Arenas believes it is.
I think it's how Steph got the gold is more important than just the medal itself, right? He showed on the highest level he's clutch. Every shot, those last 4 shots were pressure shots because if he misses them, it's a different game. People are going to remember this moment in Steph's career more than probably any shot he's taken.
And honestly, I think so too, but how is it possible? How is it possible that a professional career that started in 2009, that has had absolutely everything, 4 championships, a unanimous MVP, a surreal run like 2022, how is it possible that the most iconic moment happened on such a big stage? In a game that absolutely every fan in every country in the world is watching.
Well, Curry hadn't showed up and saved the day, dropping 36. And then in a gold medal game, the 24 that he scored, all on three-pointers. And oh, by the way, 4-4 in the last 248. Ladies and gentlemen, what can you say? It was spectacular. Steph Curry was spectacular. And you saw LeBron, and you saw KD, and you saw everybody deferring to Steph Curry because when you get hot like that, you know who to give the damn ball to. So that's what it is. I thought Steph Curry deserved the MVP because of that. Not because LeBron wasn't great, because he was. But when you steal pivotal moments like that to secure gold in 2 thrillers, Serbia and then France, you deserve the MVP. I thought Steph should have got it. But I ain't knocking LeBron one bit. I just thought Steph should have got it.
But those weren't the only 2 debates that opened up, because another debate, perhaps the most important to Steph's legacy, picked up a lot of steam in the days after the game. A few months ago, Curry said on Gilbert Arenas' podcast that he considered himself the best point guard of all time.
Are you the best point guard ever?
Yes. Yes.
And while that sounds crazy to say, it's completely realistic. A title that surely Steph has to fight with Magic Johnson. With that architect of the Lakers Showtime who managed to create one of the most powerful dynasties of the 80s. But really, does Steph have anything to envy Magic? Jeff Teague, another 12-year veteran who was a starter for most of his career, thinks not.
So yeah, if I got Kobe 3, then Steph definitely in there because I got him better than Magic. But especially if he won another ring.
Yeah.
If you look at it in perspective, Steph's legacy had some weaknesses. It wasn't a completely sweet story. He had poor finals performances early in his career, and he hadn't been able to elevate his team to the top after Kevin Durant's departure to the Brooklyn Nets. But there have been 2 events that have changed everything around him. The first, of course, is the incredible 2022 playoff run. Steph propelled the Warriors to the top in an incredible carry job in which he showed why he was one of the best guards in history. A ring that put him in a privileged position historically for what it really meant. In a post-prime Warriors that no one gave him a chance, Curry achieved the impossible. But his Olympic gold was the only thing he was missing. It was the only empty spot in his trophy case, a merit that many of the best players in history have achieved, a merit that they now also share with Steph Curry. His unconditional fans already placed him in a historical top 10 even before his 4th ring. But the most skeptical have had to end up sharing that opinion because it's impossible to think of 10 players whose legacy is so great, not only for being the best shooter in basketball history, not only for being a 4-time champion in an era where titles are incredibly difficult, but also for becoming one of the most influential athletes of all time. The NBA reacted in unison to an unprecedented phenomenon because we will never, ever, ever see a player like Steph Curry. A brilliant mind ahead of his time who has changed basketball forever.